Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket. I'm actually doing collaborations specifically with Rev Sports and Boris Majunda's channel. It's been fantastic to be invited to be here in Melbourne at the backdrop there of the MCG, which we can see also the tennis stadium as well. In fact, both those locations, the hub of sporting activity throughout the decades, and in particular MCG during summer with cricket, now with the ICC T20 World Cup of 2022. We have obviously Australian Open tennis is also played there behind me, but it seems to me that this is an incredible location. I'm very privileged to be here. We have two matches going on in Geelong today. We have Sri Lanka versus a side that a lot of people did not expect to do as well as they have. I thought they would probably struggle, but it looks as though they're going to give Australia one hell of a shake if they ever get to play Australia. But the reality is Sri Lanka are playing, Netherlands, and in fact Sri Lanka are currently 2 for 51, already into the ninth over. So they're not exactly sprinting away. In fact, that's quite a low run rate, as a matter of fact. And Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to bat against the Netherlands side that's pretty capable. That'll be followed by Namibia and UAE, and we expect Namibia, based on the form we've seen in about 3.5 hours' time, to actually be in a situation where they'll probably make their way to qualifying. They beat the UAE. It looks like the way it is, but the Sri Lanka-Netherlands match is very much cutthroat. Sri Lanka, having beat the UAE in the last game after being summarily smacked by Namibia, it looks as though they're going to need to beat the Netherlands. And if they don't, Netherlands may well go through with Namibia and leave Sri Lanka and UAE as the two teams are not effectively going for it. What is the weather forecast for the 23rd? I'm getting a question from Abjit Roshan. Well, Abjit, behind me, as you can see, it's as clear as a bell. It's beautiful, clear skies here today, which is quite amazing, actually. It's quite against what I would have expected it to be. We will have a situation now, of course, where I can see Federation Square to my left, your right. It's as clear as a bell. This is great Melbourne weather. And this is on the Thursday. And our Earth is basically, he's in fever. I hope it's not COVID-19. Will rain wash out the Australian-New Zealand game? Well, that's another question altogether. In Sydney, the weather was atrocious when I left there this morning. It didn't look good at all. And it looked like we were going to be in for a bit of a washout there tomorrow. So today being the 20th of October. Still got a couple of days to go before that match between Australia and New Zealand. And here, another day on top of that, where India will play Pakistan. Debashis Mahani's asking the question, Norman, Josh Inglis is out of the World Cup based on that injury that he's picked up. Nathan Ellis' favourite to replace him. Well, it's not like for like, is it? Josh Inglis would be a keeper come batsman. Nathan Ellis would be a bowler. So I'll be interested to see whether that actually does take place. Would they even consider Alex Carey, perhaps? I'm hearing trains rattling past here at the moment at the backdrop. Again, the MCG is on my right, your left. And the Australian Open Rod Laver Arena is also there. So we're here in Melbourne. Yes, both Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick and, of course, Rev Sports. Boris Majunda and the likes of Debashis Sen and Amit, they're all coming here in a matter of hours. I think it's now, 3:40 p.m. here in Melbourne. And I'd say the next three or so hours we'll be joined by a number of other guests. I did see Vikrant Gupta around as well. So Cam Green is the best replacement. Abhijit Rahan saying, I would agree. I think Cam Green would be the best replacement. Hi, Norman. Hello. Hi, the Potter's house. Hi, Norman. Hi from Netherlands. Well, that's great. Netherlands, in fact, keeping a stronghold of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka now at 2 for 53 after 9.3 overs, which is, I would argue, atrocious. Anyway, so Manas Darwan says, and the Adelaide pitch is the best in all of Australia. Could well be, especially weather-wise. Who's my favourite to win on the 23rd? Satyam Parasa's ass. You still can't go past India. The way that they smacked Australia recently would tell me a lot about how that's going to go. I think Australia are certainly struggling, and I think Pakistan will struggle somewhat against India as well. Doesn't mean Pakistan miss out on the semis, though. I still believe Australia and England, along with Pakistan and India, will make the top four. Although you never know. Now, Namibia is coming home with a wet sail here in the competition. West Indies defeated Zimbabwe, by the way, yesterday in Hobart. So West Indies are back on top there. Very interesting to see what takes place. So let's have a look here. we've got doesn't seem to be raining. No, yes, anyway, it's not raining here at all. Will rain wash out? It was only New Zealand game. There's a lot of discussion about that, actually. I think it will. Well, that's just my thought. Sydney's been atrocious for a long time. But Melbourne, look at this. Melbourne's blue skies, not a cloud anywhere. It's a bit chilly, but still a magnificent day. It would have been nice if they could have played India and Pakistan here today, as a matter of fact. That would have been very well suited. I would have liked to have seen that happen. So to me, having spoken to Buria and the Rev Sports team, we're going to be at certain events here in the next coming day. Well, I think Sunil Gavaskar and the like, and Michael Clark will attend. We've got great coverage here. We've got people in all different locations. The Sebastian will take care of the actual on-day player movements, especially when it comes to training and warming up and the like. And I'll be around. I'll be doing a lot of feature stories, as a matter of fact. In fact, I'm going to get the newspapers later today, and I'll talk about what newspapers here in Melbourne, The Age, for example, the Herald. We'll see what they're currently saying about the situation in the state of play. But a lot of talk about Dave Warner, continuously being asked, is he the captain or is he not the captain? What's the position with Dave Warner? Well, we know now that Pat Cummins has been announced as the ODI captain for the ongoing future. To accompany him as well would be in the Test arena himself. But Aaron Finch is still the T20 captain and will be for the rest of the series now. Sri Lanka are currently 2 for 60 against the Netherlands after 10 overs. That's atrocious, I would argue. Namibia and UAE come out later. Namibia should smack that one. Tomorrow, again in Hobart, you can hear sirens in the background here in Melbourne. Ireland versus the West Indies. A very important match for both those sides. Ireland having won against Scotland in quite a remarkable manner, and West Indies beaten Zimbabwe. And also tomorrow with Scotland versus Zimbabwe. Now Scotland should win that and should probably go through to make, I would argue, to make the top four, the final four teams to qualify. Whether West Indies is there, whether the Islands there will be yet to be seen. Then of course Saturday we have the game on at the SCG at 6 p.m. Sydney time, which is 6 p.m. Melbourne time. Australia versus New Zealand. Very significant match for both sides. I think even more so for Australia. And on that same evening, but it'll be all the way over the other side of Australia in Perth, Afghanistan playing England. And I would argue there's a smoking chance that Afghanistan could win that. It'll be great to see it happen in the 14th match. Seems to be the 14th match. Sunday, of course, we've got the A1 and versus B2 teams playing. That could well be a Namibia versus a Scotland. Who knows who that's going to be? And that's to be held in Hobart. But as we know, that evening at 7 p.m. here in Melbourne at the MCG, India will verse, of course, Pakistan. An amazing event. We've got ambulances there. We've got fire engines. You look over there, you can see Federation Square here in Melbourne. Very much evident there, but Federation Square. And if you pan around, you come to the Australian Open headquarters, working around the railway tracks to the MCG. All within shots here. I'm at the Adena Apartments here on the 9th floor. Certainly is a great vantage point indeed. The Adelaide pitch, we're going to talk more about that later. That'll be significant for the semi-final, where the semi-final will be played along with the SCG, finishing with the final in Melbourne. Debashes, yes, I saw it in Australia. It's, look, Adelaide is certainly one place. What else we got here? Weather forecast for the 23rd of Melbourne. Well, look at it now. This is Melbourne 3 days out. It's as sunny, as clear as it gets. Cool, but sunny. World Cup final should be held either in Perth, Adelaide. They aren't raining cities. Well, you can't change it mid to way through the tournament, can you? And Perth has a lot of capacity. They do, Marnus. I have to agree with that. Weather update, MCG. Stay home. I don't know. I'm not happy with the MCG. Rohit 140 is not happy. I can accept that, but I'm extremely happy with MCG. Devastan Mahani says, Norman, Aaron Finch will retire after the T20 World Cup. He probably will. So will probably Steve Smith. R.A. Intisar, the match will get suspended for sure, or it'll be a 5-0 match max, which will be interesting. And they're geared towards those sort of games, by the way, guys. They certainly are. Who am I backing between India and Pakistan? And Mr. M.R. Viner is asking. Look, I've been saying for some time that I think India will win that match. despite the fact that Pakistan are certainly in some sort of mood to do well. They've got Shaheen and Freddie up there to bowl. They'll cause some damage, but I think India, look at Virat Kohli's catch and all that still resonates with me as he's in form, both mentally and physically. Satam Parasar says, hopefully you will be live and stay home on 23rd October and give us all a weather update. I will be here giving you blow by blow. Don't worry. I'll be with a team of people. It'll be great. I'm not happy because of rain. I understand that. I understand why you're not happy. I get that. I get that quite handsomely, that weather's going to be a factor. Are you hearing me loud and clear, guys? I've got the microphone on here. I need to because I've got sirens running here. You've got Federation Square. Federation Square is renowned for where we celebrate very often our World Cup victories there. And you got around, panning around to what is a lot of trams. There's a train down there below me from the 9th floor. You got a pretty good vantage point. Not sure how well you're seeing the, oops, hello, we'll just topple over there. I'll get that back up, right? Let's have a look. That's not good. There we go. That's a bit of a wind blowing here, I'm afraid. But yeah, that certainly is a great backdrop. And I'll probably show you more as we go along. Okay. Arjit Mitra, pick your winner, India, Pakistan. I already have just explained that. Random gunner is on. Norman, is the rainy season show or is it off season? It is spring. It is spring and we do get rain, but we generally get a fair degree of sunshine as well. So it is somewhat of a rainy season, you would argue, in certain parts of Australia, especially north. But no, I think it'll be okay. This has given me some real hope. It's clear blue skies today. The pitch is going to dry up as much as it possibly can. It's a bit cool, but I do think India are predicted to be fine. Is MCG weather unpredictable? Yes, it is unpredictable. It can be 4 seasons in a day here in Melbourne. Don 007, hello, sir. Hello, holidays finally, and your live stream after a long time. Thanks, Don 007. You were a regular for many months before. So yeah, guys, it's good to be here. I'm just trying to follow the Sri Lanka score. Sri Lanka are not impressing me today. They beat UAE quite convincingly, yes. But let's have a look there. 2 for 64 after 10.5 overs over there at Geelong. Is it a pitch which is inhibiting them to score? I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to try and get some stuff. So, okay, Australia versus New Zealand, the winner. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, Australia should win that. But they haven't been informed at all up until now, have they? Venom, FF, what changes need Australia to win the match? They need to bring Cam Green in. I'm afraid it may be too late. It means no longer selecting. More faith in Mitch Marsh, more faith in Glenn Maxwell, and not have C. Smith, which has pretty much been adhered to. Our instances, I thought toss might be a factor in Australia, but looking at the recent record chasing have a significant losing record. No, I still maintain that's not relevant. Okay, are you going to India? Is the Pope Catholic? Of course I'm going. Pratab Kumkum, I'm going to be there with bells on. I'm going to probably bump into Vikrant Gupta on the way through, and obviously with Buriya Majunda and a whole range of people that Bash has sent from extra time. We're going to be all here. This is the match of the tournament, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, Don 007. Netherlands can cause a big upset today. They certainly can. They're now 2 for, I'm just trying to see the scoreboard, it's 2 for 66. Kaushal Bendis is on 33 or 25 balls, and Charit Asalanka, who's normally a bit of a goer, is 16 off 19 balls. It's a pretty 11.1 overs, 2 for 72. It's not, and the run rate is 6.44, which is not a winning run rate if you ask me. I would agree with that. So Netherlands can cause something. ICC should think about weather before scheduling matches. How can they roll it for it? They can't. It's not something you can just physically do that easily. It's not a matter of just saying click your fingers and know what weather's going to happen. Very hard to predict. Now, I do think the World Cup could have been a different time of the year. I would argue that would be the case, especially in Australia. We could have had it a bit later into the summer, maybe even in January. But of course, with the UAE IPL version and the IPL itself following after, and the South African IPL, it would have been, a bit of a disaster there as well. So this is the time I picked, and so be it. All teams are in the same boat, aren't they? What year take an Indian player? Do you think? Why do you think that they're not playing an Asia Cup in Pakistan? Look, it's probably for military reasons, for safety reasons. You've got to respect that. They've obviously got intelligence and they've got to be fair to both sides. And I think it's fair to both sides. It's not fair to one side over another by any means. So Sri Lanka, after 11.2 overs, 2 for 73. Sri Lanka was 16 and Mendes 40 or 27. He's hit 3 fours and 2 sixes, but it hasn't set the world on fire though. I'm seeing now. Mercurin has taken 2 for 15 or 3. Pretty solid bowling. Yeah, so India versus Pakistan behind me in only a matter of 3 days' time. If the weather's like this, we'll be laughing. It'll be a magnificent day. In fact, the weather was bleak in Sydney, very bleak. In certain parts of Victoria, there's flooding. In the central north, I think it is, there's flooding, which we're heading towards New South Wales, the state of New South Wales, which is where Sydney resides. And yeah, the MCG is in a splendour, magnificent 100,000-seater stadium. Certainly is going to be in a situation where we're going to have a bonanza of people streaming there, hopefully on Sunday. It's like this at what time is it now? It's just getting close to 4 o'clock. If it's like this now, we're in a great situation for the match, I would argue. Sri Lanka have taken their psychological pressure of qualification on the field, which is clearly visible, and don't want to lose wickets. Well spotted, R.A. Intisar, I would agree with that. Yeah, it's a pretty destabilising thing to be worried about yourself, because I mean, look, they beat the UAE pretty comprehensively. They got beaten by Namibia. They get beaten by Netherlands. We could see Namibia and Netherlands go through and leaves Sri Lanka out of the question. West Indies have resurrected themselves somewhat, but they also have to win against Ireland. So, yeah, bro, struggle kind of pressure, man. They do. Severe pressure. With a scoreline of it's a Carlson. See, the biggest mistake that I think the Sri Lankans have made in their team selections is not having their Russian Dick well aware. Huge mistake. 2 for 77 of what is virtually 12 overs. I picked up some love snacks from the plane this morning. Being from Melbourne. So the Potter's house. I know, when your thoughts on Daniel Ricciardo not having a F1 select sleeper at 3-3. I was with F1 Victory, shame. Great fan of him. Potter's house, well, I'm a bit disappointed too, but we're here to talk about cricket. But Daniel Ricciardo is a lovely bloke. He's had a fallout with someone. Clearly, I'm just trying to get the backdrop there. Again, to my right shoulder, to the left of the screen, we have the large towers, light towers of the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and next to it, the Australian Open, Rod Laver Arena, and the like there. A lot of very well-known tennis players, like Roger Federer and Nadal and the like, and all had victories there. And then we've got Federation Square, which is where they often celebrate. So 2 for 78 of 12. It's not good. Of course, Netherlands have to get the same runs, don't they? Curtis Canfer is getting better, becoming a mainstay in their team. He certainly is Don 007. Agree with that totally. But if the weather stays like this now in Melbourne, who's to say there's going to be anything other than a long 20-over match aside? I was at the 2015 World Cup at Adelaide Oval when India played Pakistan. I think India won that, if I can recall correctly. Bit of a blockbuster. Norman Hope, Australian public go to the stadiums and support Australian cricket team. Well, they're allowed in. The ICC have had a few warm-up matches where they've been locked out, especially Australia versus India at the Gabba. Not a sausage was in the stadium. Crazy. I want to see the reaction of the cricket community if 2 full-member T20 World Cup champions don't qualify for 12. Well, Sri Lanka looks like one. West Indies have resurrected themselves somewhat. It just means that cricket all round is on the big improve. So on Riv Sports, we're doing a lot of work with the history of stadiums like the MCG, the SCG, Adelaide Oval, Perth's new stadium, all about the making of those stadiums. We'll also be talking about historical sites. There's a very famous mural of Dave Warner Shane Warne, which exists in East St Kilda Beach, which is worth seeing. Various sites, grave sites in Sydney, which I'm going to take you to. Hopefully have a number of the ex-players also there. We've got surprises coming up as well. Great thanks to Boris Majunda and his team, Trisha Gasal, and we've got Gabasa Sen, Amit. We've got a whole bunch of people who are proving to be just amazing. All we're going to arrive here within the next 3 hours. My finals of the 2022 World Cup is South Africa versus England. Do you agree? No. South Africa hasn't shown me any reason to believe that they'll be the one to get through. England, certainly. With Australia, to an extent, but not recently. India, certainly as well. I'd honestly say India versus England seems to be the most likely matchup for a World Cup final at the MCG. Give me your thoughts, guys. Had a lot of interest from India, a lot of the Indian public. Matt Renshaw reached 200 and Hanson 209. Doesn't mean much to me at this moment. Uncle Nake, unfortunate to have weather like this in southern part of Australia continent. Yes, it is. But here today, it's perfect. And they bring the game forward. Be great. Arjit Mishra, England are not going to qualify for finals. Mark my words to Basmani. Says England's bowling looks very weak. I don't agree at all. Don 007 says South Africa can cause upsets for Asian teams. In my opinion, Group 2 is a group of death. Well, there's an element of truth to that, but I don't think South Africa is the one that's going to do it, if anything, to be honest. How is Sri Lanka going? The Sri Lanka are in Geelong. Geelong is probably an hour and a half away, I think it is. Or even barely that. I should have been there, you might argue, but I'm basing myself in Melbourne. So, Carlson Mendes is 45 of 31 deliveries. Chardas Lanka is 25 of 24 balls. They're 2 for 87 off 13. Their run rate at the moment is 6.69. It's creeping up there, but it literally is creeping. Northern England lose home series to India and South Africa a few months back. Yes, they beat Australia and Australia. That's what counts. And bowling's not looking weak, in my opinion. Uncle Nake, I think Australia and England to lock their horns in the final. No, I think you'll find a subcontinent side in there. Navneet Sharma, India versus Pakistan. Change the match venue. I don't want to change it at all. Look at it. It's beautiful here today. Not a cloud in the sky, although it is well. So there's I can see a bit of cloud coming over there, but that's only a hairline cloud, if you ask me. Let's play it today. Let's get the two teams out here and 3 hours' time and get them to play here. Don Douglas. Alex Hales is a trump card for England. Absolutely. Has the experience of playing in BBL. Yes, he does. He can be a tough man for all teams. Totally agree. Totally in the league. So I'm in a lovely 2-bedroom apartment on the 9th floor here, across from the MCG. Arjit Mitra says, to me, this World Cup will be all about the strength and power of hitters and middle order batsmen. Yes. To me, England and South Africa has the best power hitters in their middle order. England, yes. South Africa, no. I think India's got that. Australia, well, should have, but maybe not just yet. Trains and buses making a lot of noise here. Back to the game. Currently on at Geelong, about an hour and a half away. Charlotte Lanka is there still, so it's Crystal Mendes. They're 2 for 92 off the 13.3. The run rate 6.8. It's creeping up. Don't lose any wickets. It might creep up further. Ham Green should be being in this zone. So I agree. I totally agree. Ham Green should have been there. With Josh Inglis injured, there's an opening. It should be him. Thus Mahoney. So they have Mitch Marsh, Maxwell Stoinis, Wade, David, and you think England and Australia have better? I mean, England certainly do have equal to it, like Liam Livingstone, even Milan up the order, Stokes, Curran, Noah Alley. England got the firepower. South Africa? No. List the players in South Africa that could do serious damage. I don't know who they are. They've got some bowlers on Rabada. Two for 94, coming up to the end of the 14th over. Holden Mendes 46 off 32. Charlotte Lanka 31 off 29, which is commendable. We're not striking. Netherlands would hope that their bowlers restrict Sri Lanka if their bowling is on the stronger side. In Sydney, we're going to visit, hopefully, Craig Hawkins' property in Baltimore Hills, where there's a number of pieces of memorabilia. We're going to go to the barrel, have an inside tour from a number of greats, have Jeff Thompson on our side. You're saying that bowlers don't, okay. Is this the last T20 World Cup round finish? Yes. I'd go out on a winner. I've won the previous World Cup, and he wins this one. It's 2 in a row in 2 years. Can't get better than that. Scored the most runs for Australia. Well over 3,000 T20 runs. He's going to go on the high, isn't he? People have been bagging him too much, I think. Steve Smith, however, will also go out and may not even play a match, at least in the scheme of things. Krishna C, love from India. Hello, thank you. Sri Lanka have now faced 14 overs for 95 runs. Current run rate is 6.28. Now, against most sides, that wouldn't be enough. Let's see if they can hold Netherlands back. Weather prediction at the moment is blue bloody skies. Perfect. Sharathi Garathri, how are you? Don 017 says, Van der Meer, it's 30 I'm still playing, so well, massive respect. Don't rate him. Sorry. Don't rate him. I rated De Villiers, De Kock. Not many others. Warner's 36 in a matter of a week or so. Patrick seems to be struggling in one ball cricket. Patrick who? Rafter? Who are we talking about? Patrick? What are you eating? I'm hungry. I'm eating love snacks. This seems like a whole bunch of cheeky cashews, puffs and peas. Very Indian, actually. But it's not an Indian pack. It was given out at the airport. Carlos Mendes has just lost his partner. Sri Lanka at 3 for 96 into the 15th over. And Charit Asalanka was caught. The keeper, Edwards, bowled the leader, 31. Cameron Road, 6.77. Still not overwhelming. Patrick Cummings. Okay, sorry, I don't call him Patrick, I call him Pat. History says favourites never win a World Cup. True. Aussies are their favourites since they are the host, but to me this time it'll be South Africa versus England. Okay, I agree with England, certainly. Not South Africa. I would say India or Pakistan, along with England. I'm sore behind, sound like a documentary. I'm showing text. I was this series feel amazing. And finally, sunrise. It is quite amazing. It's beautiful. Look around again. You can see that's Federation Square in the main part of the city. Pan around to, I think, the Yarra River, coming around to what is effectively the Australian Open, Rod Laver Arena and the like, with the white roofs, and then further around, more to my, just behind the blue building, we have the MCG. I'm looking for Netherlands, or is another one goes in? Oh no, Banuka Rajapaksa is in. They're 3 for 101 after into the 15th over. One race. Carlson Mendes has scored a 50. Doing well. Good news for India versus Pakistan is Krishna C. We keep this weather up for the next few days. I can't see it's not playing. So let's just hope the weather forecast is going to be wrong. And it's going to continue being like this beautiful blue, hazy skies we've got above with very, very little cloud cover. Norman City weather on Saturday, it does look like rain there. It was very overcast when I left today, this morning. Very overcast. Very overcast indeed. Sri Lanka, 3 for 104 into the 15th over. Charles Mendes 55 not out off 35 balls, 3 4s, 3 6s. So he's just hit another 6. My rate's gone to 7.07. Mendes playing well after a long time outside. Yeah, he's a good player, but I think they're missing the Russian Dick Weller, to be honest with you. I think they need his spark. And okay, Sri Lanka at 7 and over. They continue that trajectory. We're looking at 140, which is, I would argue, not enough. But we'll see whether it's getting quite chilly here. If they lose another wicket or two, Sri Lanka will struggle to get more than enough to keep Netherlands at bay. And Netherlands got quite a capable side, actually. Yes. Rajapaksa needs to say if Sri Lanka needs a good total. Well, I think Mendes also needs to be there. And they're not, and I would say anywhere near that total that's worthy of borrowing at the moment. They've just finished 15 overs for 109, one rate 7.26. Mendes has hit a further 4. He has now scored 59 off 36 balls. When does the summer start in Australia? Well, effectively just December 1st through to the end of February is the traditional start and finish of summer. But it can be later, it can be earlier, but generally it's around that time. Sri Lanka 3 for 109 after 15 overs. So they have 5 overs, 30 balls. They could be looking down the barrel of 140 if things go their way. So please come to visit India live here in Eloros Caves. I will guide you. Christian C, I will try. I'm hoping to be there for the IPL next year. I'm hoping to be there for any series mid-year, and I'm hoping to be there a lot more. I've had very little chance, of course, with my mother's passing about 4 months ago. Now the World Cup here and the summer of cricket here in Australia. But I should be freed up to go, I would hope, early next year, March, April. But definitely by June, I will be in amongst that area of the world. And I'll be able to have Vikram Gupta in his backyard, or Buri in his backyard, Sebastian Sen in his backyard, Kutzal Chakraborty, and Sumit here, Amit. We'll see how we go. Sri Lanka 3 for 109. 9 into the 16th over. Don 007, India cricket fans are generally excited for Indo-Pak matches, of course, but I've started to appreciate Association Nation teams matches more. Okay. Boycott Pakistan cricket. Arun Shah on 57 or 577. We're not into that. Why should we do that? Mendes on 59. In fact, it was the Scottish batter that went really well yesterday, if I can recall. Association Nation teams are exciting. Yes, well, Namibia is showing that. Netherlands certainly are as well. Scotland's doing good, even with Ireland's efforts the other day as well. West Indies, well, they got better the second time around. The first was atrocious. Sri Lanka, they beat the UAE, but they should beat the UAE comfortably. Yeah. Stephen Smith is a bird in the Australian team, I agree. He's past his best. He's not a bad player all round. His test scores are still worthy of being there, but the team since he is not performing well on white ball, there's nothing wrong with that. He can just not play anymore. That's what got to consider the whole situation as it stands. He can't be always in every format. They've got to find their time. What are the chances of India winning the World Cup? High, very high. The way they played against Australia on Monday, it was great. Surah of Butterachari, how the weather in Melbourne. Weather in Melbourne is right, what you see behind me right now. It's blue skies. A bit chilly, but it's blue skies. What are the chances of rain? They're saying that it's going to rain on Sunday, but, well, today is Thursday, so we've still got a few days left before we can make that decision. Sri Lanka are now 3 for 113 after into the 16th over. Mendes on 59, which that run rate is 7.2. I'm just not sure that's been updated. The 9th match of the first round shows that Sri Lanka are in a bit of trouble, I think. Don 007, and credit your live stream, sir. I've started to appreciate cricket matches more. I thank you, Don. I think that's a nice compliment to get. But something's gone wrong here. There's no movement in the score. Does that mean a wicket's fallen? Paul van Merkeren and Bas de Leader, very much names of a typical Dutch background, are bowling. One's got 2 for 20 and one's got 1 for 22, both admirable bowling performances. So I ask you guess 4 team qualified in 2. At this stage, you would have to say Namibia are through. I would argue Scotland, even though they got beat by Ireland, are through. Netherlands, if they beat Sri Lanka, are through. Whether West Indies can pop up on the other side or not will depend on a few things. Maybe Scotland will, but we're about to see a match, I think, Scotland playing West Indies, aren't we? Not far away, so they could well decide. But now Namibia, and I'd say Namibia and Scotland, with the potential Netherlands, are all through. Sri Lanka will be expended. Anchorwhite, do you think Team Australia in the near future will go in a transition period? They're going to have to, with Warner, Finch, Smith all heading out the door age-wise, and you could then include Wade, even Mitchell Stark's going close to that point as well. Hazelwood, a few of them are starting to reach 30 odd as a temperature, and can't continue at that level, you would think. Transition period is a fair way of describing it. Banuka Rajapaksa is 10 off 7 balls. Council Mendes is on 60 off 37 balls. Impressive. I'm just a bit trying to imagine what that sound is behind me. Can you hear the trains? Can you hear the occasional siren? A lot of cars coming across the bridge there with the view on a nice blue clear day of the MCG Rod Laver Arena where the Australian Open is, across to the Yarra River and up through to Federation Square. We're here at the Adina Apartments, some very sizable apartments indeed, big concrete structure. Don Rajapaksa is the only batsman in the Lankan team who actually has an intent to score. I kind of agree with that. So Australia pitch suits India, so can India win? They certainly can. And Duran Shanaka is underrating himself, don't know why. Yeah, he's a bit hard on himself, what I'm saying. Talking weather report in 23. Okay. Arun Chauhan. I think it's going to rain on Sunday, but maybe not for the whole day. Uncle Nate, your take on India not visiting Pakistan for next year's Asia Cup? I don't know what's going on there, but let's see, one falls, they all fall. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. But it's just a bit, if there's no good reason for it, then why are they doing it is the question. Your take on India? Okay. So Australian pitch suits India, so we need to be more generous in the World Cup. Potentially. It's hard to play for New South Wales without having a backdrop of no international players playing, which is good if they immerse themselves with it, you know. But it's not. Is 150 a good score, Don's asking. I'm looking at the notes down here now. I don't think it is good enough, but Netherlands may not be able to handle it. We just don't know, but I think they will. Top most run batters in the World Cup. Well, you have to count much past Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and even the likes of Aaron Finch, Warner, and even Chris Gale. They'd be still at the top guys. Sri Lanka have gone to a runway of 7.45, 3 for 127 up into the 17th over. Mendelson 60, Rajapaksa is on 18. He's picking it up. Tim van der Guten and Paul van Merkeren are both bowling. 7.6, well, anything around 8 is 160. Starting to get a bit better there, but that's still, you would argue, not enough in the 17th over. All right, guys, I'm going to go a little bit longer. We'll wait and see how Sri Lanka's innings finishes in the first hit out. Starting to get a bit chilly here too. We might go for a bit of a look around here a bit more again. Have another look. We've got the likes of Federation Square around to the Yarra River, heading around to what is effectively, if the light lets me, oh my God. This is a bit of a wobbly structure here at the moment. We've got the Australian Open Rod Laver Arena behind me, with, of course, the MCG just behind there. Don 77, 3.2 overs. I guess if Rajapaksa stays, they're guaranteed to win. I don't hate Mendes, but he is not that exciting. Fair enough. SVS. Hello, so do you think cricket love in Australia is dying? It's not like that at the 90s. And are they leaning towards football rugby more? Well, AFL certainly is having an effect, yes, I would argue. Cricket, no, we're still pretty strong. We just don't like the fact that we've got players that cheated in the past. I guess it's one of the bugbears. We've got some arrogant players that they're claiming. But no, we're still very much cricket fans here. We're not giving up on that easily. But maybe it's waning somewhat, especially with the young people. I don't think there's that many boys playing it. Certainly a lot of girls. The boys don't mind the shorter format, not the long format, which means they're out in the sun all day, which is what traditional cricket's all about. So, yeah, that's a fair point. After 17 overs, Sri Lanka are 3 for 129. Castlemaine is 61, Rajapaksa 19, 7.58 the run rate. So they've got 18 balls to get it to 140 odd. That should not be enough, I would think. Krishna C. So I think this time West Indies can't qualify for Super 12. What do I think? Well, West Indies have got more chance than I think Sri Lanka have at the moment. And I think they're suffering greatly. Really, it's quite a mess. But West Indies, they've won the second game. They lost the first one pretty badly. One's the second. They win the third. They'll kind of fall over the line, and that's one thing you probably would assume they would do. They're bringing the live forecast into play, and it says live forecast Sri Lanka 161. Not sure what the live forecast of how many runs they're going to get or forecast weather. Very interesting indeed. So Sri Lanka are now 4 for 130, 17.2 overs, and they've lost a wicket of Rajapaksa was caught Pringle bowled to leader for 19. That wicket's pretty significant in the scheme of things. Castlemaine is on his own there at 62. So Sri Lanka still got 6 wickets in hand, but they've got only, some 16 deliveries left. They deserve a lot of praise. SBS. So do you think we should only have 2020 format and test format? We don't need 7.8 overs long, 50-over matches, because in order to make cricket a complete world sport, we will have to get rid of it short. I can see that point being made, and maybe there's some merit to it. It's a matter of the governing bodies should be aware of that and should be making a decision now, but they haven't been. So, I don't know. Hard to say. Fourth 130. So the game after, what's the name of the game after it again? Well, Geelong, it's pretty chilly. It's pretty chilly down there as well. It's getting very chilly in here, actually. So Sri Lanka, are they going to finish off with a bang? They're 4 for 130. They've lost another wicket. There's somewhat of a concern around, even though Castlemaine is there, is he scoring fast enough? Oh, it's cold all of a sudden. I'm getting a real chill up my back. 4 for 132 under the 17.3 overs now. And that was, I think, some runs to Dustin Shanaka. Now, he's a good player. He's a good captain. He could come in now for these last couple of overs and really take toll on the bowling. I predict 150 as the score. Now, don't know whether it'll still be right. 150, well, it's 18 runs off 15 balls. It sounds about right, but not enough, in my opinion. 7.5 over sounds all right. Sri Lanka's a good team, but performance is very poor. It is. They needed an Russian Dickwell on the side. Uncle Nate, ICC should consider shifting those matches affected with rain to Perth. My take on this. Well, it would be great if it was that simple, but there's a lot of logistics that goes on as well. You just can't up and move a game what would virtually be 5 hours away by plane. It could happen. I'm not saying it shouldn't, but it could. But I don't think they're going to do that. And at the moment, as I said, this is the 20th of October, and the weather is clear as a bell. And I would love to have seen a game held here today, but it's down in Geelong, and they seem to be finishing their games down there. It's 4 for 138 with one more ball left to make it 18 overs. Darshan Shanaka's hit 8 off 3. He's hit a 6. So he's not mucking around. Carl Mendes is on 62 off 39. So Darshan Shanaka's run rate, strike rate after 3 balls is 266. Keep him going. What a shot. Yeah, he absolutely nailed it. The same, the deep into the stands, a deep square leg. Again, an off cutter that he drags down, spinning, and Shanaka hits him out of the ground. That was a pretty impressive shot, yes. 7.66 the run rate now. Fourth 138 after 18. So there's 12 balls left. 12 runs, 12 balls. You got 150. SVS. Sir, do you think that Australians are spending the right amount of money on promoting cricket in their entire country and on talent acquisition? Or do you think it has gone down? Can you name some young talents? Well, with Jason Sanger still there, you've got Koski still there, you've got there's a few guys floating around that have been playing at the state level, which is getting a bit of a name now. Is it Henry Hunt? So Uncanak Rowett's form is a concern for the team. India heading towards a crucial match like Pakistan. I think it will be, but it's probably his time to prove himself, which he will, I'm sure. Don 007, how are you? Fred Klassen in the penultimate over. Exciting context. It may well be to you, but not to me. Just seems to be that it's not conducive to lightning play out there, right? Yes. 6. Classman has hit his fourth 6. 4 for 144. First ball he's hit for 6. Classman is on 74. So did he short and got punished. Klassen. Mendes is on 74. In fact, he's hit a 5th 6th. He's hit the first and the second ball for 6 off Klassen. My prediction gone wrong already. It's, well, a little bit. Uncle should Shami beat play in place of Harsh Patel? It's a hard one. Shami deserves to play because of his performance recently, but Mendes is now 74 off 41, hitting 5 6s and a 4 4s. 150. 18.2, 150 is up. Still a good 10 deliveries left. A bit of a surprise. Yes, look at some screaming. Loud screams going on. Mendes on 75. You've got a single there. 4 for 151. The run rate is now over 8.16. So they are heading towards a 160 plus total. Starting to become respectable. If it gets to 170, we've got a real game on here. Councilman is doing well. Now predicting 170. Well, 170 might be a stretch. They keep hitting 6s, it won't be. $4:30 in the afternoon here in Melbourne. So down in Geelong, it will be the same time. So with Justin Shanaka has caught Ackerman bowled Klassen for 8. They've lost their 5th wicket for 151. 18.4 overs. So we've got some 8 balls left. Fantastic. What, batting or bowling? Well, that's a good question. What will be the scenario for Sri Lanka to reach Super 12? If they lose today, they are pretty much out. Netherlands win today, they're pretty much in. Simple. Hi, Norman. Hope you are doing well. Sunshine Sharma. Just wanted to ask, what do you make of Association Nations performance in this World Cup? So now, I mean, Namibia is certainly blow along away. Don 007 says, cricketing gods hate me. I don't know why they say. I'd say, well, Namibia certainly has proven well. Netherlands, Scotland have all proven well. Ireland up and down, but still there. West and East in the doldrums, certainly not as much as Sri Lanka. Cultural Mendes on 75 not out. 4 4s and 5 6s. Rindu Hasaranga to Silvers into play in the bat. He is not healthy. Food. I had some Indian food. I had some very heavily buttered naans. It was good. I'll bring this Pelham guy back in a minute. All right, we're getting close to the end of this innings. 153 for 5 after 19 overs. So the run rate now is 8.05. They've got 1 over to get 160 plus. 160 is 8. That's okay. 170 is good, very good. Any more, it'll be difficult for Netherlands to get. But at 153 for 5, they can hold them something around that. We could be in for a match. Adam Zampa can be a trump card for us. They certainly can. Cultural Mendes has succeeded to stay there on 75 not out. Quite a commendable performance, really. Don Double his prediction is 165. Well, that's pretty good. It's 12 off the over. I think that's a pretty commendable effort. Adam Zampa can be a trump card. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. 157 for 5 there. Mendes on 170. It's on 79. There's 5 balls left. Very close to the end of this thing. We're at the 151, 57, sorry. For 5, you would think the 160 is not off the question. 8.19 is the batting average. The last 70 overs, last 5 overs, there's been 2 for 61 scored at a run rate of 12.2, so that's pretty commendable. Last time my prediction was 165. Okay. Well, we've got 8 runs to get, and they've got 5 balls to do it. Tim van der Gooten is bowling. Fred Klussen is there at the other end. Only Galton, only 5 live. Don 007, oh. Seeing any movement in the score just yet. It's freezing here. It's now getting cold. Who's saying like me? Don 007 is what a catch. Hard lengths from Harris Ralph can trouble Indian batsmen. Your take on this? Well, he's a good bowler. He's very fast, yes. Seems to have a knack of getting wickets, for sure. 6 for 157. Out goes Cultural Mendes, caught sub LV Van Beek, bowled Van der Gooten, 79. Yes, I'm looking at the scores intently here. 6 for 157. Don't know why, but really want South Africa to do well in the World Cup. They have a really good team this time. Sanchit Sharma, I think they've had better teams. When they had De Villiers and the like there, they were much better teams. Okay, so Chamika Karunaratne is in. Scored the run off his first ball. Cultural Mendes is up for 29. 6 for 158. There's virtually 3 balls left in this over. Menindu Hazaranga De Silva, as he's calling himself. 2 off 2, and Chamika Karunaratne 1 off 1. Both haven't really featured highly in these tournaments, have they? Yeah, I don't know either. Sanchit Sharma well, so that's how they will do well. They probably won't. Well, they haven't done so of late. 6 for 159 with what is basically 2 deliveries left. to make up that 160 to keep the run rate at over 8. It's 8.08 at the moment. Rather than an hour's play. And Sri Lanka are 6 for 159. There are 2 balls left. 2 balls left. As we look at the MCG, the Olympic Stadium, effectively, behind us, the Australian Open, where the likes of Laver played himself in the Rod Laver Arena. And to my far left, which is to your right, you'll see Federation Square, the ceremonious area. Okay, so they got to 160, 6 for 160 of 19.5 overs. Looks like they're going to be able to maintain an 8+ run rate for Netherlands, which will be difficult, relatively difficult. Only one delivery of Sri Lanka. Carlos Mendes with 79 certainly has kept them going, no doubt. So what about chances of India? Will be rain, curtailed, or points will get hit? Because according to Australian time, 7 p.m. change, the rain is less than 30%. Your views? Well, it was much higher, like 80 or 70 or 80% earlier today, so it's dropped off. So that's a good sign. I'm looking at over my shoulder now, and there's blue skies. Blue skies. There we are, 162 for 6 Sri Lanka after their allotted 20 overs. 162 for 6. There we are. It's a pretty impressive bit of anguish in a few of the faces of the Netherlands boys. Carlos Mendes has got himself in there as well. A fair bit of rejoicing from Netherlands earlier on in the piece. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 great photos there. All right. 3 runs rest of my cricket. Yes, it was, but you were pretty well done. That was it. Match is going to be exciting if any of the Dutch batsmen click. You're right. You're right. All right, let's take a break now. Back in a sec, guys. Just going to make a little men's break. Back in a sec. Or we'll have to break something. I lost you guys there for a while because my battery ran flat, so I apologise for that. We'll be back after some food. I love this. Dun 007 says I'll be back up. Well, I was back because my damn phone lost its damn trajectory, so that's why. It's not based on anything else. So you can see them in the room here. So we'll get back, guys. As you can see, his sirens running. Now they're there, so we'll have to have a bit of a break. You can see the room that I'm in here, leading out to the outside MCG, to the MCG, Medina Apartments. It's quite a nice backdrop. We'll be able to come back after break. Yes, we will. But I just want to. I'll just have to quickly go off for a moment, just quickly see what this Padman guy wants. Here we are. All right, so we're going to go outside a minute. Try and work on what we can do out there with that. I'm sure we've got a phone. We've got another phone here. Wait a second here. What are we looking at? Okay, so we're going to go back out there, guys. Once I get a bit of a handle on, so we'll see how we're going. So you enjoyed the stream, did you? Okay. We might actually end it there, guys. I think we had a good stream. Hopefully Netherlands, or do you want to keep watching, guys? You let me know in the message bank whether you want me to continue, because I think Sri Lanka have reached the point where they've done pretty well. I think we're best trying to come back a bit later at this point. It'll be interesting to see how Netherlands actually do cope with their situation. Enough. I'll go there again. Oops. Just try and get this. There we go. Volume back out there. Go out there and have a little look at what we're saying here. This is what we're saying. You can see quite a bit of backdrop where we have Federation Square, Yarra River, some rowing, Rod Laver Arena, and the various John Cain building on there, and over to the MCG. I have to just connect up to my microphone. Get us back. Not there for much longer, guys, because we really need to get ourselves finished up here, ready for some action. And as you can see, the backdrop of Rod Laver Arena, MCG. Now, matches today are happening in Geelong, about an hour and a half away. I'm not going to those matches, but I'm particularly focusing on the India-Pakistan match. Of course, we're going to be showcasing Melbourne. We're going to be some lovely restaurants. We're going to have, I think, a night out with some of the players pre-India-Pakistan. Seem to have a fair bit of things going on there. We've got a bit more of an audience participant. The reality is we are in a situation where it's freezing here at the moment. But I'm not going to. But yeah, live at the MCG in Melbourne. We're going to. The likes of Dabasa Assembly arrives will go straight into the practice realm of the Indian cricket team. Borimajan and I will commentate on the actual game, previews, post reviews, tidbits about some of the players, the ins and outs of the teams. Obviously, with India, Pakistan in particular, but Australia and New Zealand will be on the Saturday. None of the qualifiers will be sorted out. I think Namibia seems to be a likely winner of that. So I think Namibia certainly is a team that's going to be a threat into the last stages. They've proven to be quite successful. Then you've got Scotland, potentially Ireland, Netherlands, depending on how they play against Sri Lanka. We might see Sri Lanka and the West Indies out. At this point, Sri Lanka looks destined not to be in their situation. Let's have a look here. Well, Netherlands are now in the first over done for 5. 1 out of 5. So they need 158 runs off 114 deliveries, which is a bit steep. Norman, are you coming live in a packet questions? Of course I am. Okay, well, I'll be here throughout the whole series for both the likes of, certainly for Boria's Rev Sports, which is a great channel, and mine as well, and maybe others depending on who requires my services. But we're going to be talking tonight about that, but the people will be ringing in next week, so that'll be interesting. All right, so we might, well, at the moment, Netherlands are none for 7 going into this over. So let's stay tuned and come back at a later stage of the day. We've gone for an hour and 20 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the day. We'll talk more tomorrow and the day after, leading into the India-Pakistan blockbuster at a very sunny MCG, let's hope. All right, so take care, guys. Notice the backdrop there again of Federation Square, whapping around to the Yarra River, heading over to Rod Laver Arena, and in the further distances there of the MCG, which is where the final will be held for the World Cup. India, Pakistan, 100,000 strong. It'll be interesting to see the morning of the match. We'll see who the throngs of people going in there. Maybe some thongs as well if it was warm enough. Yeah, so the Netherlands are none for 12 into their second over, none for 13, in fact, after 2 overs. The run rate's 10. Jeez. Max O'Dowd is on 6, and Vikramjit Singh is on 2, with 5 extras. That's a pretty loose start there from Sri Lanka. Any chance that you will be meeting Vikram Gupta? Well, I've seen Vikram on the streets here, so with a bit of luck, I will bump into him before too long. Great to see him. All right, so stay tuned for more reports as we go along. In fact, with Netherlands now none for 13 into the second over, pretty damn good position to be in. All right, Uncle Nike and Don 007, Krishna and the like. See you guys next time around. So I hope you enjoy the show. Stay tuned for more. All the best.